Hey guys, and welcome to this new video. In this video, I want to show you how I modified my AirTag. But first, let's go to the intro. Enjoy. Actually, AirTags are really cool, super small, you can put them anywhere and they are very affordable. The only problem is if you have a relatively small wallet like I do, for example. Then, such an AirTag is relatively impractical. In the last video, I already showed my 3D printing accessories, and among them was the so-called Apple AirTag, which I tried out and ended up destroying my first AirTag. But I didn't want to let that slide, and I did somehow order two. That means I thought to myself, you have to try it again. And since some time has passed now, I also had time to see what I did wrong. The problem is that the AirTag has two connections to the negative terminal. Normally it's nothing special. You just take one negative terminal and one positive terminal, connect it to the battery, and that's it. In this case, it is such that the two are not connected to each other. And that caused a small problem for me, which is why my AirTag no longer turned on. I thought it was broken, kept soldering on it, and ultimately ended up destroying it. Since I now have the knowledge that I can simply connect these two negative terminals together and then connect the negative and positive terminals to the battery to get it working, I thought I would give it a try, and I did just that. First of all, I completely disassembled the AirTag, just like I did with the old one. It always hurts a little because you really have to break it apart. And at this point, of course, a small disclaimer: if you don't know exactly what you're doing and don't feel confident about it, then it's better to just leave it and use the AirTag as it was intended. And for those who have a slightly smaller budget, there are also accessories available. I will link the video I made again up here, and maybe you will find an alternative if you don't feel confident doing it yourself. For me, it was time to move on. I took the thing apart and soldered the two pins together. That worked fairly well. And then I soldered the battery to the whole thing, and tada, it works. Here is the finished Apple AirTag. I thought about how I could protect it a little bit because normally the AirTag is completely open. There is just a hole for the battery. It also looks kind of cool because you can see the insides of the AirTag. And that's why I decided, perhaps just temporarily, to simply stick a relatively wide packing tape on the top and bottom. Thus, the AirTag is protected from both the top and the bottom. It is not completely waterproof, but it is somewhat secured against external influences, which helps it remain ultra thin. And so I can now do this in my wallet, and as a result I have only increased my wallet size by about 3 credit cards. Once again, I managed to remove the speaker. This means that the AirTag no longer makes any sounds. What I find interesting about this is that this AirTag would now theoretically be the perfect surveillance tool. So if I have someone who doesn't have an iPhone, I could slip them this AirTag. He would be tracked but would not receive any notifications because he doesn't have an iPhone, and the AirTag would also not make any sounds because it no longer has a speaker. For all of you who want to replicate this, I will put the link in the description below. As I said, a little disclaimer: don't do this if you don't feel confident. It's really not that easy, and there is even a case available specifically for these wallets. So if you have one of these, you can simply unscrew the screws here and replace one of the back plates with an AirTag compatible case. Of course, this will make your wallet a bit thicker, but it might be a pretty good alternative. I'll also include the link in the description below. And that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, feel free to show me with a rating, because that was the next 35 euros that I sunk. If you don't want to miss anything, feel free to click subscribe, and otherwise we'll see each other again next week on Wednesday at 1:00. Until then, take care and goodbye.